Have you ever thought about how that phone in your hand or the shirt on your back got to you? A huge part of that journey likely involved a container ship sailing through one of the world's most critical maritime chokepoints, the Red Sea. For centuries, this narrow strip of water connecting Europe to Asia has been the lifeblood of global trade. But today, this vital artery is under threat, rapidly turning into what many are calling the most dangerous shipping lane on the planet. What's happening in the Red Sea right now isn't just a regional conflict, it's a global crisis in the making, and it affects every single one of us. Stick around, because we're about to dive deep into the geopolitical storm brewing in these waters and uncover why your next online order might be delayed, or worse, become a lot more expensive. To really grasp the scale of what's at stake, let's zoom out and look at the map. The Red Sea is bordered by countries like Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Sudan. Its northern end connects to the Mediterranean Sea through the Suez Canal, and its southern end opens into the Gulf of Aden and the Indian Ocean through a narrow strait called the Bab-el-Mandeb, which means the Gate of Tears in Arabic. This name has become tragically fitting. About 12% of all global trade, including a staggering 30% of global container traffic, passes through the Suez Canal and the Red Sea every year. Think about that. Nearly a third of all the goods packed into those massive containers are floating through this specific route. It's the shortest and fastest way to get products from Asian manufacturing hubs to European markets and the east coast of the United States. Taking the alternative route, around the Cape of Good Hope at the southern tip of Africa, adds about 2 weeks to the journey and millions of dollars in fuel costs for a single voyage. So, for shipping companies, the Red Sea isn't just a convenience, it's an economic necessity. But this necessity is now clashing with a terrifying new reality. Since late 2023, the waters of the Red Sea, particularly around the Bab-el-Mandeb Strait, have become a combat zone. The Houthi rebels in Yemen, a group that controls a significant portion of the country, including its Red Sea coastline, began launching a series of sophisticated attacks on commercial vessels. They claim these attacks are in solidarity with Palestinians and are targeted at ships linked to Israel or its allies. However, the reality on the water has been far more chaotic. Ships with tenuous or no connections to Israel, flying flags from various nations, have been targeted by drones, anti-ship ballistic missiles, and even armed militants attempting to board them from helicopters. We've seen dramatic footage of explosions on the water, near misses that were inches from disaster, and naval warships from a US-led coalition, known as Operation Prosperity Guardian, shooting down incoming projectiles. It's like a scene from a naval warfare movie, but it's happening in real time, and the targets are civilian cargo ships. The impact was immediate and dramatic. Imagine you're the captain of a billion-dollar container ship carrying goods for companies like IKEA, Walmart, or Apple. Your insurance company calls and tells you that the premium to transit the Red Sea has just skyrocketed by over 1,000%. Or worse, they refuse to cover you at all. What do? This is the dilemma that has forced the world's largest shipping companies, giants like Maersk, MSC, and Hapag-Lloyd, to make a drastic decision. They've suspended all transit through the Red Sea. Instead, they are rerouting their entire fleets around Africa. This isn't a small detour. It adds over 6,000 nautical miles to the journey, burning immense amounts of extra fuel and delaying shipments by weeks. The ripple effects are starting to hit us on land. Car manufacturers like Tesla and Volvo had to temporarily halt production at their European factories because essential parts from Asia were stuck on these rerouted ships. We're talking about a massive disruption to the just-in-time global supply chain that our modern economy is built on. So who are the Houthis, and how did they acquire the capability to hold global trade hostage? The Houthi movement, officially known as Ansar Allah, emerged in the 1990s in northern Yemen. What started as a religious and cultural revival movement transformed into a powerful military and political force, especially after they took control of Yemen's capital, Sana'a, in 2014, sparking a devastating civil war. For years, they've been in a conflict with a coalition led by Saudi Arabia. A key factor in their rise has been the significant backing they receive from Iran. This support has allegedly included training, funding, and, most critically, the provision of advanced weaponry. The drones and missiles being used to attack ships in the Red Sea are not rudimentary weapons. They are sophisticated systems, some with ranges of hundreds of miles, capable of threatening ships far out into the Gulf of Aden. This places the Houthi attacks within a much larger geopolitical context, the long-standing shadow war between Iran and its regional rivals, including Israel and Saudi Arabia, with the United States caught in the middle. The Red Sea has become another front in this complex power struggle. The international response has been a mix of military action and diplomatic maneuvering. The United States and the United Kingdom have carried out targeted airstrikes on Houthi military sites inside Yemen, aiming to degrade their ability to launch further attacks. They've been supported by a coalition of other nations providing intelligence and naval support. The goal is to restore freedom of navigation and secure this vital waterway. However, this is a delicate balancing act. The strikes risk escalating the conflict, potentially drawing the region into a wider war and destabilizing Yemen even further, where millions are already facing a humanitarian crisis after years of civil war. On the other hand, doing nothing would essentially cede control of a major international waterway to a non-state actor, setting a dangerous precedent that could inspire similar disruptions in other strategic chokepoints around the world, like the Strait of Hormuz or the Strait of Malacca. Beyond the immediate danger of missile attacks, there's another, quieter threat lurking in the Red Sea that has security experts deeply concerned. Undersea cables. Lying on the seabed of the Red Sea are some of the most important data cables in the world. These fiber optic lines carry an estimated 17% of all global internet traffic, connecting Europe, Asia, and Africa. They are the physical backbone of our digital world. In early 2024, several of these cables were mysteriously damaged and severed, causing significant internet disruptions in parts of Asia and the Middle East. While the exact cause is still under investigation, suspicion immediately fell on the possibility of sabotage. The Houthis have publicly made threats against these cables, and the vulnerability of this critical infrastructure has been laid bare. Damaging these cables doesn't require sophisticated military hardware. It can be done with something as simple as a ship dragging an anchor. The potential for a single actor to cripple international communications and financial transactions by targeting these underwater lines is a terrifying prospect and adds another layer of risk to the Red Sea crisis. So, what does this all mean for the global economy and for you? First, increased costs. The longer shipping routes mean higher fuel consumption, higher insurance premiums, and higher operational costs for shipping lines. These costs don't just disappear. They are passed down the supply chain. Ultimately, this means the price of imported goods from electronics and clothes to furniture and foods likely to go up. We're talking about a new wave of inflationary pressure at a time when the world is already struggling with the cost of living. Second, delays and shortages. The longer transit times are wrecking carefully planned production schedules. Companies that rely on a constant flow of parts from overseas are finding their assembly lines idle. This could lead to shortages of certain products on store shelves. Remember the supply chain chaos during the pandemic. We could be heading for a similar, albeit more localized, version of that. This crisis also highlights a fundamental vulnerability in our interconnected world. We've built an incredibly efficient globalized system of trade and production, but that efficiency comes at the price of resilience. We've become overly reliant on a few key maritime chokepoints, and when one of them is threatened, the entire system shudders. The Red Sea crisis is a wake-up call. It's forcing companies and governments to rethink their supply chain strategies, to explore diversifying their manufacturing bases, and to invest in alternative shipping routes and technologies. But these are long-term solutions. In the short term, the world is holding its breath, watching the naval cat-and-mouse game play out in the Red Sea. The security of this waterway is no longer just a regional issue, it's a matter of global economic stability. As we look to the future, there are no easy answers. A purely military solution risks a wider war. A purely diplomatic solution seems unlikely as long as the broader conflicts in the region continue to fuel the Houthis' actions. What's clear is that the Red Sea's days as a safe, predictable, and cheap highway for global trade are over, at least for now. It has become a symbol of our fragile, interconnected world, where a conflict in one corner of the globe can send shockwaves that are felt in shopping malls and factories thousands of miles away. The Gate of Tears is living up to its name, and the entire world is paying the price. The next time you track a package online and see it's delayed, take a moment to consider the incredible and now perilous journey it's on, and the complex web of geopolitics, economics, and conflict that dictates its path. Thanks so much for watching. This is a complex and rapidly evolving situation, so if you want to stay updated, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'd also love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think this crisis will be resolved? Let's get the conversation started. See you in the next video.